Judge recognizes childhood friend on trial. What happens next will shock everyone. The air in the courtroom was thick with anticipation. A ceiling fan hummed overhead, the only sound besides the soft shuffling of papers. Reporters filled the backbenches, their pens poised, hungry for drama. The case had already caught headlines. Local man faces felony charges after alleged break-in. At the front sat Judge Marianne Blake, a woman in her early 40s with a reputation for fairness and integrity. She adjusted her glasses, scanning the room as the bailiff called the case, and then she froze. The man at the defense table, unkempt hair, tired eyes, hands clasped tightly in front of him, was Andrew Marshall. Drew. Her Drew. The boy she had grown up with. The one who once carried her backpack home when she broke her arm in 5th grade. The one who shared sandwiches with her under the old oak tree at Lincoln Elementary. He was the defendant? Marianne's gavel nearly slipped from her hand. She forced herself to speak. "State versus Andrew Marshall," she said, voice tight. The man looked up at her then, and their eyes met. For a moment, time rewound. She saw the same brown eyes she had known decades ago. The same hesitant smile, and in his gaze, recognition. He mouthed her name silently. Marianne. The courtroom shifted uneasily. Prosecutors whispered to one another. Sensing the tension, Marianne cleared her throat. "Mr. Marshall," she said, trying to stay composed. "Do you have legal representation?" "Yes, Your Honor," Drew said softly. His lawyer nodded beside him. She glanced at the papers. The charges were serious: burglary, possession of stolen property. As testimony began, Marianne drifted back to childhood. She remembered summer afternoons when Drew would ride his bike beside, hers down dusty streets. The day they both swore they'd make something of themselves. She would be a lawyer, and he said he'd be a teacher. But life had pulled them apart. She'd gone to college. He'd stayed behind, working odd jobs after his parents split. They lost touch, like so many childhood friends do, and now here he was in an orange jumpsuit, accused of breaking into a pawn shop. At recess, Marianne retreated to her chambers, hands trembling. She called in the clerk. "I need to speak with the presiding judge," she said. "Everything all right, Judge Blake?" "No," she admitted. "I can't oversee this case. The defendant, he's someone I knew well. It wouldn't be ethical." But the clerk shook his head. "The presiding judge is out sick. You're the only one available today." Marianne's stomach churned. She could proceed, but carefully. She had to stay impartial, even as her heart whispered memories of friendship and fireflies. The defense attorney called Drew to the stand. "Mr. Marshall," he said, "tell the court what happened the night of the alleged burglary." Drew spoke slowly. "I was laid off 3 months ago. My mother's medical bills. They kept piling up. I was desperate. I made a stupid decision. I went into the pawn shop after hours. I swear I didn't break anything. The door was unlocked. I took a laptop. I knew it was wrong." The prosecutor pounced. "So you admit you stole it?" Drew lowered his head. "Yes. I was going to sell it to pay the bills." As closing arguments wrapped up, Marianne's emotions battled with her duty. She couldn't ignore what Drew had done. But she also couldn't forget the boy who once stood up to bullies for her in middle school. The law required fairness. Justice didn't bend for old friends. When the jury returned, hearts pounded. "Guilty," the foreman said. Gasps filled the room. Drew closed his eyes. Before sentencing, Drew's lawyer revealed new evidence. The pawnshop owner had left the door open, intentionally as part of an insurance scam. Drew had been a pawn, no pun intended, in a bigger scheme. The real criminal was the owner himself, now under investigation. The courtroom erupted. Marianne exhaled slowly. Justice wasn't always straightforward, but truth had a way of surfacing. The end, Drew was given probation and ordered to perform community service instead of serving prison time. Months later, Mary Ann visited the community center where Drew volunteered, teaching kids computer skills on donated laptops. "You turned it around," she said softly. Drew smiled faintly. "I owed it to myself, and to people who believed I wasn't just a mistake." They stood there a moment, two old friends, weathered by time, but connected again. The story made local headlines. Judge recognizes childhood friend on trial. Case takes shocking turn. But for Mary Ann and Drew, it wasn't about headlines. It was about second chances, about how life could twist and turn and still offer a path forward. Justice had been served, and so had hope.